Veganish.
Run into them because we met, you know, in a number of circles doing network marketing. So it was like one of those things where we knew we wanted to do our own things, and these guys stepped out on something, and I was just like, yo, my people are doing their thing right now. And you know, we've tried to get this thing to go for a while now, this whole get together, get on the line and talk about it. And today it's happening, and I'm excited because, you know, sometimes I have people on and I don't really know them, but these guys, I know them. They've seen me do some of the stuff that I talk about I've done with network marketing. They've read some of the same books that I've read. They've met some of the same people, and some of the people who I call mentors from afar. They know of these people as well. And they have, is it Veganish Foods, right? Veganish Foodies? That's what you guys are? India and Lamont. Listen. But I love it. And let me just give you guys a plug before you do it. That Everything Sauce, son. That's mean right there. That's mean right there. I use that on a few things. But the reason why I wanted to have you guys on the show is because you know what I talk about. If you have an idea, pour into it. Because some people are gonna think you crazy for doing it or whatever, but they're supposed to because it's not their idea. You might have times when you know you're up at night like, yo, what did I get myself into? And you're supposed to be in that place because, you know, if it's easy all the way through, you're not gonna appreciate it when it really happens. And you could probably lose it just as fast as you got it. But once you've gone through the ups and downs, and once you've had people stand you up on appointments, once you've had people, you know, tell you, oh, that's not gonna work, you crazy for doing that. When you have all of that, and then at the end it all works out for the better, you know, now you can have that smile on your face. Right. And you can really, because I don't really, you know, get them back on that, be like, yeah. But they'll be the first ones, oh, I believed you could do it. You know, I knew you could do it.
Always.
Right, sure you did. But, you know, that's why I have you guys here to talk about this. I mean, let's just talk about your company and what you have going on so the listening audience can understand my excitement.
Okay, so we can start simple because India has the pitch down pat. So we're gonna let her get the pitch. But I'm Lamont, this is India. We started with a lifestyle brand in about 2017 called Veganist Foodies. Veganist Foodies was something that we learned from like network marketing and learning business online, that we wanted to establish a presence and kind of implement or impact the market with transitioning into plant-based and healthier alternatives. At that point in time, we created a book. And when we created the book, we didn't really sell the book, right? We didn't really have an audience. But what started to happen organically from us sharing different plant-based information is we organically grew our Facebook page to over 4,000 people. So that was pretty awesome for us. But then we weren't making any sales. So now how do we get an ROI on our time? India created a sauce, and I started cooking plant-based food. And from there, we created a catering company. And we created a sauce, a product. So, India, do you want to tell them the pitch real fast?
So, Everything Sauce is an agave-based flavor-enhancing sauce that can be used to convert everyday meals and snacks into a gourmet experience.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good.
And it's fire, yes.
It's good.
Right.
It's not good. It's good.
Right.
No, I really like it. And I remember, you know, when we were doing network marketing, because what did we do? We did one or two companies together.
I think we did two.
We did two.
Yeah, because I started in the 5 links, and then I think we went right into that little vacation and
travel.
Uh-huh.
And it was crazy because for me, I actually, and you see, like I said, this is more like shop talk. But his voice is Big Man here, and I have India and Lamont on the line. Veganish Foodies.
Peace,
All right.
peace.
I want you guys to Google that. I want you guys to follow their page, and understand what this is about. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand it. But let's go back on the journeys. I started in network marketing because a friend of mine who, I really respected, and this is like my boy. He was managing me on my DJ stuff. And he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this, that, and other." And I said, "You know what? If you're in, I'm in."
Right.
And it was just that simple because he had never led me astray.
Right.
And what I had to do was realize years later, because the first experience, I made nothing. But I saw what was there. I saw people who looked like me,
Right.
who turned this simple idea of what we were doing into real money,
Right.
and into success,
Right.
into generational success. And I said, I was mad for a little while because I'm like, dang, I dumped a lot of money into this and I got nothing out of it.
Right.
And then I had to really change my way of thinking. But did I not get anything? Because it taught me team building. It taught me self-development.
Right.
It taught me to think differently and to think outside the box.
Right.
And so one thing that I say all the time that it definitely taught me, because I used to always be that person, it sounds too good to be true.
Right.
And I was like, that's negative self-talk in itself.
Right.
If that's already me telling myself, oh, if it's something good, then nah, that's not meant for me. Let me get away from that. They talking too good for me. I'm supposed to have the hard times. I'm supposed to have this, that, and other. And so that's what I took from that when transitioning into the next company. And so I had a different idea going into that. And I mean, that one was a little more lucrative for me, but I also thought about it and I said, I need to find something that fits what I'm passionate about. I need to dig back into my passions and start pouring into those things a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And when I look at what you guys did, you took your own brand and put everything behind it systematically and gradually that we were putting behind this network marketing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bumped into you guys at different events and I'm like, oh, they out here. Oh, they got this set up. Oh, they got that. And I wasn't leaving that last time without that sauce.
Right. Right.
When I tell you, but it was interesting to see it. And, I always go back to that because, I know you guys and I know, where it started. I saw when you guys first started things and then I saw the growth. And then I've seen you guys on, news stations and on different daytime shows talking about your product and talking about your company. And I'm like, this started from an idea.
Absolutely.
And so that was the real reason of having you here because you had the idea. When did you two get to the point where you said, you know what, we need to make this something. We need to make this something because sometimes people sit on these ideas and now, did you just bounce it off each other or did you bounce it off other people and hear them tell you that you sound crazy and tell you that it's not going to work?
So network marketing got us here, bro. Like really networking and getting in circles that weren't our normal circle, getting uncomfortable to figure out how to get comfortable. And we started off selling soap, bro. Like that's literally how it started. Like we were like, oh, we need to get in here. And we were just going to grab the soap from New York, coming and bringing it back. And we were inserting ourselves into the different events. India, the brainchild, the superstar over here, she was trying to feed my taste buds because I'm cooking all these plant-based meals, but we're not that efficient at that point in time. We're coming off of fish. We're coming off of chicken. So we needed something that gave us this flavor enhancer. So it came about because, well, India tells the story better, but it was her putting together a few different condiments to help out the me remixing the meals that we were getting from the takeout because we didn't really cook at home plant-based food. So that's how it really all came about. But the start of it came from us selling this soap at these events. Like I literally started a whole beauty soap brand. Like we had shampoos, conditioners, 30 different soaps, and we were just putting ourselves out there. But it wasn't us. So I think that was brought us back to the network marketing thing because it's like we're good at selling stuff, but how do we get the full return? Man, we made this sauce, 400% margin. We selling vegan food, $2,000 deposit, somebody giving us money to make this vegan food for the event. And it changed our whole dynamic and how we viewed what we were doing and what we were bringing to the table. We were like, oh, we on this. And that was like 2018, pretty much. We started just going full steam with it. You think it was something different?
I think that covers it. I think how I view a lot of the things is everything ties back to network marketing and mindset, and just being around people, like you said, and seeing all the skill sets that people have that like look like you. I think that was very beneficial, especially for me. Lamont's just a natural born entrepreneur. Me, I'm like from the workforce, so I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't know nothing about like ever thinking about starting a business or anything, because where we come from, you don't really see us being business owners. Everyone's like pushing you to like go to work and get that good job.
Absolutely.
So until I got involved in like network marketing and not even wanting to do it, I just wanted to be around the people in the environment. And then it just organically started to happen that you get excited, you want to like learn and implement things that you're doing, but you didn't really know what you're doing. So I think the food and stuff came along just in our own passion of wanting to heal ourselves healthy. You know, my background is in the medical field. I've been working in the medical field since, you know, I graduated high school years ago, and I've been on both sides. So, you know, usually when we're getting sick and we're not feeling good, they're telling us like to get on medication, and you think that that's your only outlet. And I was just like, no, there has to be another way. So I just started doing research for me and Lamont, a lot of health issues that we were having, and a lot of things kept linking back to food and meat and dairy. And it was like a light bulb, because I'm like, when people get sick or they don't feel good, they never think about what they're eating may be the cause of it. So that's kind of like how the Veganish Foodies and the Everythang Sauce came about. But it was definitely because we had already went through those trials and tribulations of doing different network marketing and being around different people with a different mindset to show you how to manifest your ideas and put it out there in a different way that we're not taught.
Wow, his voice is Hot937, Hot937.com. Big man here, and I have India and Lamont on the line. Veganish Foodies, all right? Understand that. Now, let me tell you guys, because we talk a lot about network marketing, and this is because we were in two of the same companies together, and here was my moment, right? Because I was always that guy who was a skeptic. I was like, this is a scam, this is this, that, and the other. And I don't know if you guys were there in Anaheim, California, right? I went to an event that they had, and you guys may not have been there, but you know this guy, and I'm gonna say his name, Barry Donaldson.
Yes.
This dude came out on stage, and I was like, you know, everyone else who was kind of like this hoorah, hoorah, hoorah.
Right.
And he came out on stage, and I'm talking, this wasn't like your regular auditorium, this was an arena.
Right.
All right. And when he came out, it was like the way he walked out, he commanded attention, and he came out like he owned this whole company.
Right.
It was like, who is this dude?
Right.
And he changed everything up. He was like, listen, and he wasn't, you know, it wasn't like this super proper person. You could tell, you know, his background was like this country boy, whatever. But he was like, they wanted me to come out and do a training, and it was on me to do something else. So I talked to the owners before I came out here, and I said, listen, I have something that I want to do. And this guy, what he did was, he said, you know, he was really real.
Right.
He said, this may be the company for you, or it may not be.
Right.
He said, you need to find something that is for you, and you need to do it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, now I'm on the edge of my seat. And he said, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to show you my portfolio of businesses that I started from doing this company.
Right.
He said, because it's bigger than this company. And that was the first time that I heard anyone say that.
Right.
and I'm at full attention. And when he put all of his businesses on the screen, and then he explained where he was in that company and what he was in terms of the structure and the downline and everything else. He was like, you know, my upline is the company. And this person who you saw, and this person, they're all my downline. I was like, what?
Right.
You getting money off all the millionaires.
Right.
And it made so much sense to me. But what I saw was he created something that, you know, I heard about here when I talked to recording artists and stuff like that about, you know, real wealth is generated from having multiple streams of income.
Right.
Most people who have acquired some sort of wealth have at least 7 streams of income. Honestly, that day he showed me about 9 to 10.
Right.
And I was like, this dude is the real deal here. And, you know, at the time I had been in the same room with Jay-Z, these guys, whatever. And we sat down later on that evening, and I was literally sitting a table away from him. And I was sitting here like, I want to talk to this dude, but I don't know what to say to him. I don't know what to say. And like, yo, just say hello. I'm like, nah. And I've spoken to all of these other people before in the past, but this guy, it was something about him. And when I talked to him, the one thing that he said to me that I always say when I talk to kids, when I talk to anyone, he said to me, he said, you know, I told him, I said, what you said out there just blew me away. He was like, what I said out there, you could be saying in a few years. And I laughed, and he was like, no, don't laugh at it. He said, you need to own it and we'll make it happen. He said, every single person in this room could be doing the same thing that I'm doing. He said, the thing is, they let other people tell them that they're crazy and then they walk away from it. Mm-hmm. And it stuck with me for a long time. Like, I still have the audio from that presentation that he had. Right. And I was like, this dude blew me away. But the reason why I brought it up is because that's how we really met. And we've started doing things outside the norm.
Absolutely. With
people looking at us like, yo, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. Nah. Right. I understand what it is that I want to do, and you're not going to talk me out of that. Right. And so I, you know, first and foremost, before we go any further, I'm completely proud of what you guys are doing. And I'm excited for it. Because, you know, like you said, you started this some years ago. And to see the growth of it, you know, from where it was back then, because I know you hit some walls. And I know you might have had some nights where you woke up like, man, I messed up. You know, because it's happened to all of us. Anyone who's tried to step out there and do their own thing on an entrepreneurial level, you've had those nights where you woke up in the middle of the night or a night where you couldn't go to sleep. And you really wondering, okay, now do I go back and start punching this clock again? Right. Do I go back and what's that other again? Where do I go? What I know you've had a number of those nights, but what was your driving factor that kept you going? Because some people have made it to a certain point and given up. What made you keep going when you hit maybe that tough part where you had to give it a little more? What was it that kept you guys driving with that?
You wanted it all on me? So I've been doing this so long, right? We've been figuring out how to make things work since I came outside, since younger, right? We come from that kind of, out of that kind of element. So without putting that all on that, I think at some point in time as a man, you try to figure out what skill set you have and what do you bring to the table. And I think that development, that thought process led me into business in general, right? And then I think all the stuff that we spoke about previously leading up to learning and adapting and marketing better, that just dug me deeper into business without getting a degree. And I think that the pivot or the main focus to get is to not go back to working at a job, because I've worked at so many jobs along the way. And I think India can attest to that too, as she says she was in the nursing field. But I've worked all the odd jobs, all the stuff, because all I did was graduate high school. Even though I went to college, even though I went to HVAC, I've tried all these different things, but I never worked in any of these fields. So I did all this schooling and learning, but I'm not getting those kind of jobs. I'm getting the kind of job that's your regular. I'm a retail. I work in a warehouse. I'm doing some deliveries. I'm a dishwasher. Like these jobs where your elevation is not very attainable. And I think that was the drive to say, well, I got to just create my own. And then from what we were seeing, we were selling other people's stuff. We were demonstrating their product and service. So it just from Jim Rohn, you can get rich, right, from having a product, right? One or wealthy from having a product. So from that's just been stuck in my mind. Like, oh yeah, I just need a product. So like once we understood that, it was intellectual products like the digital books, and then like the e-courses, and then like different stuff like that. Like, but then we got the sauce. And now we all in with the sauce because the sauce goes on chicken, fish, and veggies. Like so, like we got this bigger audience where we didn't think that we were trying to niche it down, and it's hitting. More people are liking the sauce. We're like, oh well, we need to move forward with this. You see, we got the shirt on. Like, yeah, we out here with the everything sauce, and I think that has been our driving force because like we know we have something here, and we know that we made this. So like it's for us, it's by us, and now we just got to make sure people know about us so that they can come try what we have to offer to the market, to the world.
Mm-hmm. India?
For me, there's a lot of factors that keeps me going. Lamont is like number one. He's the one that got me into entrepreneurship. I remember in the beginning, I was like, I don't want to sell no coffee. Like, I don't even drink coffee. Like,
that's an insider for real. What's an insider? Yeah.
And I was just like, so I mean, I kind of like veggie back off of him when we were like doing the coffee thing, and then we started doing the travel, and even that I didn't want to do the business aspect. I just wanted the perks. Like, I'm not a businesswoman. I don't even like really like consider myself a people's person back then at that time. Like, I'm kind of low key. So it just started happening organically for me. So like that started to set the belief system, and being around the people that were doing it, and then the representation is a big thing for me. When I'm feeling like I want to give up, I just follow people that I want to be like or that inspire me. And I'm just like, listen, they look like me. They're around the same age as me. And if they can do it, I can do it. And so that's a big motivating factor for me. And then also not wanting to go back to work, because my thing was to be a nurse. And for myself, I already had that dream. I was already in the dream job. I had a job working at Bay State. And around here, Bay State is like bread and butter. Everyone wants to get in Bay State. And they're just like, you get in there, you stay in there, you don't leave. And it wasn't until Bay State fired me that it was like, what else am I going to do in my life? My whole background is in the medical field, and I wanted to be a nurse, not necessarily because I wanted to be a nurse, but that was what was instilled in me from my grandma and my mother. Like, you need to go get that good job. There's always going to be sick people. You're going to be a nurse. So once I got fired and I didn't know what else to do with myself, that was really eye-opening. And I'm like, I've been chasing somebody else's dream, and I never figured out what I want to do or what I'm good at. So when I think about all of those things, I'm just like, I put in so much sweat equity already. Like, if I'm quitting, what am I going back to? I'm going to go back to things that I don't want to do, be in environments that don't make me feel good. And I'm still going to be broke, living paycheck to paycheck, while I'm still in the midst of trying to figure it out to get to that end goal that we're all going after. So there's a lot of driving factors for me. And, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster ride, and you got to just stay in the middle. You can't ride too high or too low. You got to just know why you started and never forget your why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Post it up, put it somewhere, do something. Right. His voices is Hot937, Hot937.com. I have India and Lamont on the line. Veganish Foodies. All right. Listen, get that everything sauce.
Please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. All right, I'm putting my stamp on that. I'm putting my stamp on that.
Listen, can you tell us what you shared on real fast? Or which you put it on, I mean.
What did I put it on? Okay, let's see. Because I haven't gone the vegan route yet. Right. But it's interesting because I'm one of those, I go to YouTube University. So, I I've been looking at different things, and I'm like, if I could figure out how to do a steak vegan style, I might be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I've used it on steak. I've used it on chicken. I've used it on fish. I've used it on a number of things. Like the very first night, like the next day, because we got it from you guys out in the park, and the next day, I used it on chicken, and I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't on the something right there. But no, honestly, it was it's really good. It's really good, people. I'm not just saying that because, you know, these are people I consider friends. You know, when I see them, it's like all love.
Right.
And but let's go back to something that you touched on, because you talked about, you know, not having a college degree and things like that, right? I did a show a few weeks back where I talked about how your regular bachelor's degree doesn't mean what it meant 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's crazy because we're encouraging kids to go to school, get a good education, get a good job. That's 70s and 80s talk. We're in 2021 still preaching 70s and 80s rhetoric to them when the times have changed. Because now, you know, you're not guaranteed to get a job in that field. I know so many people who, you know, they've graduated with degrees and this, that, and the other, and have never worked in that field. They've been in the workforce already 15, 20 years. They feel like it's too late to look for something. And to me, it's never too late to get a fresh start. It's never too late. But, you know, here's what you're hit with a lot of times. You have the degree, but you don't have the job experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So how am I going to get the job experience if I'm spending all of this time? You know, I'm coming fresh out of college. So yeah, I'm not going to have the job experience, but I have the equivalent in education. Oh, then they'll tell you you're overeducated for the job.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I did the things to qualify for it, but only for you to tell me that I'm not qualified. And so a lot of people, they give up on themselves. And so I told my daughters, all right, because my son already has his master's degree, and I'm like, bro, you blew past me education-wise. So, but my daughter's in college at UConn now, and I have another daughter going to college next year. And I said, you know, that's cool and all, but go and figure out what it is that you want to do and how you can apply those principles and values to what you want to build as your own corporation. Don't come out looking for someone to hire you. Come out looking to be the person who's hiring other people, right? And I want people to start preaching that to their kids, because there's opportunities every single day. Every single day. You know, because the thing that they would say to us when we were selling the coffee and stuff, oh, everyone's drinking coffee every day. That's something that everyone drinks every day. Yeah, true. Oh, people travel all the time. People travel all the time. That's true. People eat every day too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new batch of people trying to buy homes every day. There's a car breaking down every day. There's some plumbing going bad every day. There's an electrical problem every day, multiple times a day. All of this stuff, all of these things are necessities. We highlight just a few. Yeah, people get sick every day, so you want to be a nurse or a doctor. You know, yeah, there's going to be, in I like to talk to those student athletes because we know exactly, you know, the exact number of people who will get drafted every single year. And out of those people, you know how many of them are guaranteed to become millionaires. Out of that, there's a small percentage who will retain that money because they don't teach finances in school anymore like they used to. They have taken trades out of the schools, so they have nothing to fall back on. So my thing is, educate yourself. Take your free time, and you know, this is the information age. So to say that you don't know now is unacceptable, because you can find out anything. My thing is, if you can find out when the next Jordans are coming out, if you can do the research to find out if a pair of Cartiers are real, then you can do the research to find out how to start your own business and how to keep your business running and how to sustain your business, because all of that stuff is there. Oh, you don't like to read? Then you know what? I'll show you how to convert an audiobook into an MP3, and you can put that in your brand new car that you just spent the whole bunch of money on. You put in a flash drive and put that in there and listen to it instead of listening to your favorite song. So I used to drive my kids crazy with that stuff because I always listened to audiobooks.
Mobile University.
One of my favorite books ever, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That's a good one.
That book changed my whole mindset. Because I had read, The Think and Grow Rich, both versions, and all of these other books I have read, and Success Principles, all of that stuff. But 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, for some reason, that book stuck with me. And I think it was because I saw a lot of things that highly effective people do on a daily basis, and that they routinely do, that we're unwilling to do because it's wrong. And I've had to come to grips with some things that, even doing certain things that I've done. Like recently, I became a realtor in the state of Connecticut, and I also convert that into Massachusetts and Georgia. And so, but with that, in doing that, studying and everything else, and basically going back to school, it was a good thing. And what I saw with that was it affected the mindset of my kids, because it's one thing to tell them to go study, and then I'm sitting back watching the game because I'm a sports junkie. But then when I put the remote down and started picking up the book, and I started going to classes, and I was studying at the same time that they were studying, even though we don't live together, they would FaceTime me anyway. Even if I'm with my youngest daughter every day, and then even afterwards, we're FaceTiming each other and talking again. And I'm studying, and she's like, oh, wow. Now she's starting to study more. And so you start to lead by example. And there's nothing wrong with, if you've been on a job for 20 years, to say, you know what, I'm going to try this over here. Don't get too comfortable and make your right now your forever, especially when it's something that you're saying, I got to get up and go in there.
Right.
I'm feeling stuck.
Right.
All the posts that I see on social media, is it Friday yet? You look forward to the weekend so you can sleep in. Imagine every day being a Saturday. Imagine that. So, and you guys are slowly working towards that, because you're building something that ties into generational wealth. Absolutely. Because imagine this becoming a corporation that, you go into every store, every grocery store, convenience store, whatever, and you're seeing Everything Sauce on the shelves. So they brought into your corporation, and now it's on autopilot, and you can pass that on to your children. Now your children have a piece of that. So my theory is, if it's good enough for the Waltons, and Walmart, and Sam's Club, and all that, then it's good enough for me. Right. It's for my family, and I should think the same way that they thought, because this stuff started out as an idea, And another thing that I talk about is, we have 24 hours in a day, and people talk about, time management. I'm like, well, you already know you got 24 hours. So you're not managing the time, you're managing the actions. It's not action management. What are your actions in those 24 hours? It's like, well, how many, the 24 hours a day, right? Boom. What am I doing differently than a Warren Buffett? What am I doing differently, than the Bill Gates? What am I doing differently from the Waltons? What am I doing different? And so you have to really assess your actions. Right. The time that you spend gossiping about something, you can be doing whatever. The time that you spend watching your favorite show and then putting up posts about your favorite show, you could be studying. Right. Well, I was a junkie on some of these shows, and I missed out on all of that when I was studying and taking these courses. I can't believe you're that far behind on the series. I don't even care about the series anymore, man. Right. My own series. create my own life like series, and it's just that mindset, man. It's that mindset, and like, you know, it's funny that you say that, Lamont. You had that entrepreneurial spirit right out the gate. Let me ask you this: how much did your parents, siblings, so on, how much did they pour into that, or did they tell you you were crazy?
So I don't think anybody told me I was crazy.
That's because you're a bully.
No, it could be that. It could be that. I'm a little bit more aggressive than most. But really, I think what happened is like how she was saying, how you were saying, it's the visual representation, right? Mm-hmm. Without seeing that, and I'm super proud of my mom and my dad, my mom and my brother, because they finished college. I only started college, right? But they finished more recently, right? So that's like inspiration. And I tell my brother that all the time, like you are like the first person to finish school. Then my mom finished, right? So now you got me, and now it should have been me first. So I think that me on the back end, from them they poured in that way, but me on the back end, I'm the person that I'm going to go to a YouTube university. I'm going to enroll into a course. I'm going to pay for a seminar. I'm driving to a boot camp in Georgia from Massachusetts, like, and driving back. Like, I'm doing that stuff because that's how I'm going to get my intellectual decision making done, because I can't do it by giving an institute 10 grand or 20 grand or $5,000 a semester or something to that nature. But I can spend this couple $1,000 or couple $100 on myself to get there. And then it's on me anyway to get the information. But now what I got, how do I implement that after I get back home? Sometimes when you go to school and stuff like that, you don't get that implementation part. You just get the learning part of it. And then you still got to figure out how to implement it, how you make it work, how you execute that. With what a lot of the stuff that I learned and I dig into, it's almost instant that the entrepreneur thing kicks in, and now I'm using that. Like, oh yeah, this is something that I learned, and I'm going to use this immediately. Or down the line, it's a tool. I like to say everything we learn is in a tool belt. So that I pull that off my tool belt, and now I start to insert this different stuff I learned. Like, all this is mindset ammo. Like, anytime you're ready, you can attack. You can hit whatever target you need to hit because you've been studying, you've been building yourself up. So they didn't really pour into me per se from that aspect, but what they did allow me to see on the other side of it, like what I'm doing keeps up. Because like you said, if we didn't go to school, how do we keep up with the rest of it? It's our personal experience that we go through. And I believe most people who don't have a college degree are smarter than people that went to college, because you have to be very more witty, and you have to be more adaptable, and you have to overcome certain obstacles to get to the same outcome that somebody may have gotten when they went to school. So they poured into me from just showing that they stay stuck to it to do it.
Yep. India, because you were working in America, so when you made that decision, I know there had to be some pushback.
Yeah, none of my family understand it, and they all work jobs. And even when I talk to them, like, hey, you should start a business, like, you know, start creating something for yourself, they're just looking at me. Maybe they're looking at me like they can't do it, but they're proud of me that I'm doing something. Or maybe they're just stuck in that mindset of being like, this is all that I know. For myself, that's where I was stuck at for a long time. And like I said, it wasn't until that I got fired, and then being around Lamont and his natural entrepreneur self, that I was just like, okay, like maybe you're onto something here, and maybe I should have an open mind. I think that when we come from corporate America and just being from the background of like, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, I feel like we're programmed to have a fixed mindset, where if somebody comes in with new information, you're not able to retain it because you don't even know what they're talking about. For an example, when I started network marketing, I didn't understand the terminology. I had no clue what they were talking about, and I felt lost. I was like, what are they talking about? MLM and nuggets? Like, I didn't know what they were saying. And it wasn't until I started continuing to go into the environment and having my brain stretched beyond what I was used to, that it was just like, okay, I'm starting to understand, but I still need to dig in. I need to read books. I need to watch some documentaries. I need to listen to podcasts. I need to be around these people, because when you go back around your family and your friends, nobody's talking about that. They're all talking about the TV shows, reality TV, music, and all that stuff. And like how you said, when you're in your car, you turn your car into a mobile university. You're listening things that are going to have thought-provoking conversations and mindsets. Even if you can only have the conversation with you and Jim Rome or Eric Thomas, and like you're cheering them on and saying like, yeah, it's those things that keep you going. Like I think for myself and most people, you're not gonna have that support system from your family and friends, because we're all just conditioned to be consumers and not producers. So being in the environment, you just have to stick with it and get around people. Another quick example is with Lamont. I used to think that he was crazy. Like, you're selling something and you're happy that you made a $10 sale. And he used to say to me like, yeah, but you'll go to work and work a whole hour for $10. Like, I can make this $10 multiple times within an hour. And it used to stick with me like, oh, I never thought about things like that. So just being around the environment and being around people that stretch your brain is imperative for your journey if you're gonna start entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's voices. It's Hot937, Hot937.com. Big man here. I have India and Lamont on the line. Veganish Foodies, and you know, let's real quick. We got about 8 minutes left. Education is more than just going to college.
Absolutely.
For sure.
People need to understand that, because when you say education, people automatically think, oh, go off to college. Educate yourself on what it is that you want to do. Educate yourself on you as a person and your habits, and how to separate the good from the bad, and how to dispose of the bad. Learn what you can from the bad, dispose of them, and replace those with other good habits. See, we get so caught up in, when we hear education, we immediately think college. Now, Lamont made a great analogy, because his education consists of going to boot camps, seminars, conferences, and that's what a lot of entrepreneurs, they pour a lot of money into that. They will go away for weekends at retreats and spend thousands and come back. They're reprogramming themselves, and they're getting that toxic stuff that they may have been around, that's kind of taking their focus off their business and what they want to do a little bit. So they're getting that reboot. It's almost like a jump start. It's like going in for an oil change or something, going in for a tune-up, right? And we have to understand that. We have to understand that when we want to do something, we can do it. It's not impossible to do. And I've told people, you know, when they've opened up stores, I said, you know what? By the end of the year, you'll be a millionaire. Oh, man, you sound crazy. Don't ever say that about your business. Don't ever say that about your business. I said, then you need to close the doors today if you don't believe that it's possible for you to do that. Because it's happened before. I said, so even if you don't become a millionaire, but you made $300,000 by the end of the year, you still have a win. You still have a win, because that's $300,000 more than someone else would be willing to pay you for the same stuff. And like, so, you know, we have to understand, and we have to put ourselves in those positions where even if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's going to happen. But we can't give up on ourselves, because we're quick to give up on ourselves, but we're not giving up on that job. No, they pay me every 2 weeks. You could be paying yourself every second.
Exactly.
You could be paying yourself every second.
I think what happens, and I don't know if you were still going on, but I think what happens is we don't realize that we have to create these systems. We get complacent in the systems that we get put in, or we adapt to. When you go to that job, it takes you 2 weeks to get paid, fam. When you go to that job, they give you do this training and all this stuff so you can get acclimated to get out there to just try. And if you don't do it right, they'll fire you. But they might give you a warning or two, but they're gonna get rid of you. You can create your own system. It's taken us 2 years to get to this point. just in a short time, but we have these systems in place. And we still go to training, we still taking cohorts, we still learning from other mentors, other stuff, just to get into the space that we've never seen anybody else like us in this area doing this. Like, we're a couple, so there goes that dynamic. But then I've never seen another male vegan chef. I've never seen that, not in my surroundings. So like, just seeing that kind of stuff, you have to put yourself in the circumstances or around the right people so that you can learn the systems, because that's the hard part. You can see visually what it is, but it's systems in rap, it's systems in engineering, it's system in anything that you see. Basketball, there's systems before you see them go work that hour. They put in that hour, but it's hours and hours and hours of background work before you go see them on that main stage putting in an hour of work on whatever you want to use as an example. So that's the same thing I think with business or learning. Like, you got to put in this background work to get to the point where you can go speak for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or you can go show off and cook something that might have took you 20, 30 minutes or an hour. But how long did it take you? I was on YouTube University for years learning stuff, right? And I still use it. So yeah, you just got to learn the systems. I'm big on systems because I've learned through our trial and error that was the thing that's been messing us up. Like, we weren't putting systems in place, and then we were working old systems, and we had to revise the systems. It's not us, it's not our mindset, it's the systems. And I feel like people get complacent with the systems, and that's why they rather go back to work, because the system already put in place. You just insert yourself, and you go be a robot or a worker, and you go do the job, and you get paid.
Facts. Listen, we are coming to the end of the show, but I want you guys to plug as much as what you have going on. Let people know how they can find your products, how they can order from you, how they can stay in touch with what you guys are doing. You know, even if they need some guidance on something, whatever.
Okay.
Last time to be on the show.
Oh yeah. That's not the last time we're gonna be on the show, but we could plug ourselves. So that's www.everythangsauce.com, www.everythang.sauce.com, and that's everything with an A, because
it's awesome.
We put the awesome in the sauce, baby. And then the other thing is, if you go to info.veganishfoodies.com, that you can connect with us. You can find us. So that's info.veganishfoodies.com. And that's like our link tree. You can find all the stuff that links back to us, our YouTube, our e-courses, our books, everything that goes to us. But we really just pushing this sauce out here. We're on all social medias, either under Veganish Foodies or Everything Sauce. We learned it that we had to brand ourselves. So we are out here. If you type in Everything Sauce, you'll find us on Google. We're everywhere. So you can definitely find us.
Yeah.
Man, listen, I appreciate you guys. I know we wanted to make this happen a while ago.
Absolutely.
And then I think you guys were going to Virginia for a training or something like that.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
And then, you know, the second time some other stuff happened here. But it's happened now, and I'm happy that it has. I just want to say I'm really happy for you guys. And I'm going to always support it. I'm going to be hitting y'all up for some more of that sauce because, come Thanksgiving, I'm putting that on some things.
Come on, bro. We about to have the catering in the wintertime. We're going to pull out this food trailer in a little bit. We're going to do our e-course group challenge at the beginning of the year. We ready. And if you want some food, we cater to plant-based food all through New England. So let us know. You know?
Yeah.
Sauce.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead, India. India about to say something. What you about to say?
No, I was just going to say in the sauce. And I just wanted to put a little disclaimer is that the sauce is not for vegans. I think people do that because they see us and they're like, oh, Veganish Foodies, and we're talking about plant-based stuff. Initially, I created the sauce to help us when we first started our journey, just to be able to eat more vegetables because, you know, people want to eat more vegetables, but they're bland, they're boring, you don't really know how to incorporate them so that they taste good. So that's why I initially created the sauce, but most people that buy it are meat eaters. Most people always put it on chicken, burgers, shrimp, and fish. So we just like to make that clear that it's for everybody. If you love sauce, if you love food,
look, everything sauce is for everybody.
It's for everybody, right?
Listen, you guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna revisit and have another conversation about this. And I'm looking forward to it. Much success to you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Oh man, his voices is Hot 937. Keep it